Welcome to another episode of The Theory of Conspiracy. I am Ro. I'm joined by Mike.
What's up, guys?
And today we have a fun one today. We're doing something a little different. We've noticed that we have a bit of a growing European audience, especially in dear old Great Britain. God save the Queen.
She didn't. She's gone, bro.
Well, I mean, like her spirit, maybe.
It's the king. It's the king now. I know it's hard. I mean, I know it's been decades, but it's the king now. God save the king. But
well, do we?
Should we do a conspiracy on the royal family? Some people think they're werewolves, man, and that she was holding them at bay. Did you ever hear about that one?
The werewolves? I've heard that they're shape-shifting reptilians, but they're shape-shifting werewolves, perhaps. Yeah. Well, and that now that, apparently you're right. God didn't quite save the queen, but we're gonna trust God now to keep the king. Whoops, we're good on that.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the stories that we have heard today.
So we're going to do a special episode today that we're calling EuroTripped. And what we're going to do today, it's going to be a fun one. We're going to take a tour through some fun European countries and talk about some old-timey tales that are strange, but allegedly true. Yeah. So we're going to visit some fun countries like England, where we have our Great Britain fan base.
Where else are we going?
We're going to go to France, Gevaudan, France, where we've mentioned during a Bigfoot episode. And lastly, we might take a trip over to Germany.
Oh, these Germans. We can't have an episode about these Germans.
Yeah, and then I think for every EuroTripped episode, we'll take, a few other countries, a few other folklore, and just kind of dissect it there. So,
I dig it.
So mind the gap, everyone. We're about to take one big Euro trip. Yeah. All right. So the first one I'd like to focus on is dear old England, with the home of the werewolves, apparently.
The royal family werewolves, yes.
Oh, okay. Show them some proper respect. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. They've earned it.
Put some respect on their name, as we say in America.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know the legend of Spring Hill Jack? Do you know about Jack?
I know. Yeah, I know it coincides a little bit with Jack. It happened around the same time as Jack the Ripper. I know that. And Spring Hill Jack was like a murderer that could jump really high. Is that in layman's terms? Did I get it?
Yeah, he could jump really high.
Okay. So so what about Spring Hill Jack?
Yeah, so in the 19th century, so Spring Hill Jack is one of the first urban legends, kind of like a precursor to all these boogeymen that we have now, where there's stories that seem to be factual, some things that seem to be fictional, but this became this real life boogeyman. 19th century England. And you're right, it happened decades before Jack the Ripper. The first tales happened in the late 1830s, around 1837, 1838. Jack went on the scene in the late 1800s. So yeah, this was a Jack that was terrorizing the London Underground, and just like Jack the Ripper, a lot of his targets were women of the night.
Ladies of the night, women of the night. Right?
That's the accepted term nowadays. So we don't. I
think actually that might be sexist. Sex workers, I believe, is the term. Right?
Okay.
Unless it's changed this week, I have no idea. But anyway,
I would think
whores.
Yeah, sex workers. I don't know. I like sex workers. I just feel it's kind of confusing, because I would want to sign up for that. I'm like, so I'm getting paid in sex, right? Like, no, the sex is the work. Like, what am I getting paid in? Dirty cash? Like, oh, I guess that's okay too. But I digress. So Spring Hill Jack was a mysterious figure that came on the scene. He was described as being tall, a tall, thin man with glowing red eyes, a devilish grin, and this incredible leaping ability. And if you've seen any sports in London, then yeah, I mean, that's something to be admired, the whole leaping thing. Not like America, where we have NBA and people are like, man, look at those guys go. But he was his attire was this dark, tight-fitting suit, and not only was he able to leap high distances, like he had springs in his heels. He was also.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it was like a go-go gadget murderer. Is that what was going on here?
Well, that's going to be on the list of what it could potentially be when we start talking theories. But it could be, some sort of early steampunk go-go gadget.
Spring heels, whatever.
Yeah. But not only that, he also had the ability to spit fire and use that to attack his victims. Oh, and also metallic claws. Yeah.
Spring Hill Jack sounds like a badass, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
that's wild. No, I didn't know about all that. I just thought the guy could jump high. That's pretty cool.
yeah. Not there's some of the street workers that probably disagree with you on how cool he is, but yeah, I mean, he did become cool. He became a bit of a folk hero, and we'll talk a bit about that. He was almost like the first Batman in a sense there, like a Robin Hood is type figure there.
Really? So they
yeah, they started immortalizing him in penny dreadfuls, like comic books of that time, plays. So he became this Robin Hood figure. So in the media, and we'll talk about some of these tales here, but in the media, even through the early 1900s, there were stories of Spring Heel Jack, and the media would sensationalize these stories of the women he was attacking, where he was very much a villain in the media, but on the penny dreadful circuit, he was a folk hero. He was someone who was actually doing weird things to stop crimes and was actually saving women. So it's kind of a weird, like, kind of juxtaposition there. Like
they shifted it. They shifted the narrative.
Yeah, you're assaulting women in reality, but we kind of like you. You're a hero. You're like, yeah, kind of became a Batman figure. Like, we kind of like this guy. He has like a cape and he jumps really far and spits flames and he fights crime, but he wasn't really fighting crime apparently.
It sounds like a murderer.
He was kind of a rapey guy. He was kind of
like a murderer, rapey or sexual assaulty. Can you say rapey now?
I think if you put a Y on it, I mean, I think it becomes a whole other word.
It's like creepy, but with sexual assault mixed in. Yeah,
a little. Yeah.
Okay, I think we can.
Some salt and pepper. Can we say that? So, let's talk about Spring Heel Jack. So there are different, when you try to find what are the first stories, there's some mix on what are the first stories even. Everyone wants to be first. So I think one thing that's pretty unanimous is that in 1837, those were when the first reported cases started happening. So first it was coming out of Peckham, England, and first they were referring to, before Spring Heel Jack was Spring Heel Jack, they're referring to him as the Peckham demon, which was thought to just be a ghost that was attacking people. Some of the first stories, and there's like 3 stories that can be the first one, depending on which site you read. One of the first tales is that he started with a bang and didn't go after the street workers. He went after a group of soldiers in 1837, that there was a group of soldiers hanging out, doing whatever they do, that he leapt over a high wall, started spewing flames at them, attacked him with his metallic claws, that they fired at him, that he was pretty bulletproof, and he just jumped back over the wall and was never to be seen again. So could be one.
That could be the first one. I mean, so they didn't have the term Spring Heel Jack at that point. They just had reports of a guy with metallic claws breathing fire and jumping high.
Yeah, they just thought of him as there's the ghost. It's a demon. It's a phantom. It's a apparition that's coming at us. But the stories of the spring, the heels would kind of take a life of its own and become that name there. The other first story could be an encounter with a woman of the night, a young lady of the night, actually, because I was reading about this. Apparently she was like 13. Poor. Yeah.
That's dark.
So in this encounter, it was with Maria Davis. Apparently he attacked her. He tore at her clothing and he killed her. This is an incident that is looked at as possibly being not real. It was put in some books like the 14 times, things like that. But that's one of the, starting.
That's like one of the 3. It's
one of the 3. Yeah. But if we want to start with the most famous of the 3, that is more so the one looked at as being the actual first. Let's see.
What are we doing? We're doing something good. Everybody loves this show, Rolando. There's like a shit ton of people that are like, oh, I love it.
Oh, nice. Okay. So one of the earliest encounters, and this would have been in early 1838, February of 1838, and this is one of the most publicized ones and maybe the real first, and this is where Spring Heel Jack sort of took that name here. And it's interesting how the name came about, because Spring Heel Jack basically gave his name as Spring Heel Jack. So in this story here, Jane Alsop was at home. A man rang the doorbell and he was screaming that they had caught Spring Heel Jack and that he needed their help. So he told her to bring some candles out, that they've caught him. He's in the alley. Come out. So she followed the policeman. I don't know what he called himself. He was probably like, my name is Officer Policeman. I need you to come with me. And she's like, oh, okay, Officer Policeman. And she followed him out into the dark street. She had the candle with him. He took the candle from her. Sorry, hit my mic. So he took the candle from her. And when he turned around, he revealed himself. His grotesque face, and he spit blue flame right in her face and started tearing at her clothes with his metal claws. She started running back toward her house. He was cutting her this whole time, like in her back, with the claws. Jane's sister came to the rescue. She started scaring him off there, and they both described him the same way, that he had these red fireball eyes. He had a helmet on. He had this tight outfit on, and that he leapt away. He spit flames and leapt away. And from there, Spring Heel Jack was born, because the guy who did the attack was like, hey, we caught Spring Heel Jack. She was like, well, what the heck's a Spring Heel Jack? But
that was a question. They didn't, at the time, it wasn't like a household name yet, right? It wasn't like an urban legend yet at that point, was it?
No, this is one of the first attacks. So there was those 1837 ones, but they were more so being known as the Peckham Demon, because they were coming from Peckham and they thought of him as a demon. But they also saw that it was a demon that would jump really high. But once this attack happened, Spring Heel Jack.
Okay.
Yeah. So that wouldn't be the last one there. There was, let's take a look at some other weird tales here. That's when the media started really running with these stories, calling it the Spring Heel Jack, the Terror of London. And people were quite afraid of what can be out there lurking. And what may have been happening at this time as well is that, and as we've seen with Jack the Ripper, there's some thoughts that some of these may have been copycat attacks, that they may have been attacking women, these women of the night, and trying to go under the cover of this boogeyman to get away with their own attacks there. With some other stories that happened here, this was one where it's sort of divisive if it happened or not. It was reported. Apparently, there's no death records of this happening, but it's one of those ones that freak people out. The Clifton Suspension Bridge incident. This apparently happened in with a bunch of witnesses, where he attacked this woman on the middle of the bridge, that he lifted her over his head, showing off pretty much how strong he is, and then he just flung her in under the bridge below into an open sewer, killing her. And then he was able to jump off.
So there were witnesses watching him do this?
That's what's reported. I guess what's weird about it is there's really no official death record for this person here, so it's debated if this was just something that was made up and
urban legend.
Yeah. Some other stories are about he was responsible for horse coaches crashing, that he would leap into the middle of their street there and jump at the last moment, and the horses would swerve into the houses, I guess, into the walls. So there was a lot of reports of this guy just causing all sorts of mischief.
So Spring Heel Jack was basically the catch-all at this point for anything that bad that kind of happened.
Right. And at this point, yes, it could have been copycats. It could have just been jerks and all of that. But there was this whole idea of someone that was a bit unnatural, perhaps supernatural, because of the whole fire thing, because of the whole being bulletproof thing, and yeah, just the claws and all of that. Then there was another tale of attacking soldiers again, which is kind of ballsy. This one is from March 1877, where there were some soldiers at this large military base in Aldershot, Surrey, that this mysterious figure, and this is kind of interesting, that he just walked up to them from the darkness, and that the figure, this Jack person, just walked right up to the soldier and just slapped him several times across the face. And the soldier described it as an icy corpse-like hand. And the soldiers, they fired back at the intruder, but their bullets had no effect. It was like he was bulletproof. And then he was able to Spring Heel Jack right out of there. He jumped across this channel that was pretty big. But that's, pretty ballsy. You just go up and shoot a soldier, like just across the...
Yeah, just go up and give him like bitch slap him, like, come here, bitch. And like,
what did the hand say to the face? Slap. Yep. So And you know what this reminded me of as I was looking this up, you remember the tale we told just a few weeks back about the Peru alien sightings?
Yeah.
So with that, a lot of strange commonality there. First, it was being reported that 7 feet tall aliens in what looked like Green Goblin armor was attacking people. A young woman said she was attacked, like her neck was scratched by one of these guys. There was men who said that they opened fire, that these things were bulletproof, and that they would fly away. And then later on, the local officials started saying that these are actually happening, but that they believe that they're the Brazilian gold cartel, that they're actually utilizing jetpacks and armor, and that they're trying to scare people Scooby-Doo style. So just
the similarities are there. I mean, we haven't talked about time travel yet, but do we think
the gold cartel took their gold and invested into a time travel device and went
just
back?
Started bitch slapping British soldiers, dude?
That's hilarious, right? That's kind of funny.
It's a theory.
Yeah, you're like I have enough time to bitch slap this guy, and I know it's going to take him about 120 seconds to reload that musket. So
yeah,
I'll take my chances there.
He's spitting blue fire, and that sounds like flamethrower technology. That wasn't around back then. I mean,
yeah. So let's talk about that. The flamethrowers. I mean, with that, he's spitting it out of his mouth. I mean, it's not that much of a stretch if this person were to put, just like those flamethrowers in a circus or a Burning Man or whatever. You can not swallow, but keep in your mouth some gasoline, maybe some flammable liquor, and just, he had the candle, right? He can just blow it and it'll look like he's shooting flames without necessarily being a human dragon. So that might explain that.
So he was a circus folk. He was a circus dude.
Yeah. And that is actually one of the theories, that they were attributing this to the Marquis. Where did that information go? The Marquis of Waterford, Henry de la Poor Beresford. I guess he was like a famous clown type guy that was famous for his ability to jump and perform acrobatics. And even there was the Penny Dreadful at the time. It would always end on a cliffhanger where Jack does some heroic stuff, because he was a good guy in the comic books. Apparently, he would reveal himself to the people of that story, and they would always say, "It's the Marquis," and they would cut off like ... and you couldn't see what they stated, but it was
anybody in the know in the conspiracy realm back then knew that it was Spring Hill Jack.
Yeah, the Penny Dreadful conspiracy folks were trying to insinuate that they believed that the Spring Hill Jack was this Marquis person.
Okay.
But yeah, so these attacks happened right before the Jack the Ripper sightings. Very similar in that they were really being used to sell newspapers, and the attention started turning to Jack the Ripper when dead bodies started becoming more and more rampant there. And there's thoughts that Jack the Ripper may have actually used the name Jack to kind
invoke the fear of Spring Hill Jack.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, invoke the fear of Spring Hill Jack, and so people were terrified that they were one and the same. And maybe that Jack the Ripper, I mean, he was one of the world's first serial killers there, but this idea that he's something more than just a man, that he could be
supernatural,
yeah, a ghost, a monster, a boogeyman that has unnatural strength and ability to escape and things like that. And the last reported sightings were in the early 1900s there. So the time of Spring Hill Jack went before Jack the Ripper and a little after Jack the Ripper here.
Okay.
And there are some different thoughts on what it could be, that it was just maybe the first sort of media sensationalism story that was, gave rise to these in order to sell newspapers, that it was some sort of public hysteria that sort of, kind of caught on in the consciousness. But it's strange, especially when you have soldiers that are saying, hey, this guy bitch slapped me several times across my face and then leaped away, that they were just normal people, or perhaps, people using this cover to do
horrific shit, whatever.
Horrific shit, yeah. That didn't want to pay for certain services, things like that, or something weirder. Maybe it was an alien. Maybe it was some secret technology lost from the Tartarians or from the steampunk world that we don't hear about. but let's dive into that. What are your thoughts on the Spring Hill Jack guy?
It's interesting, right? Anything with like urban legends always kind of gets me interested. Just that collective thought of something or something, that collective thought of someone or something being supernatural, and that's the explanation they have for something that they can't explain, whether that be aliens or supernatural in the sense of like it's a ghost or a specter or a demon. More than likely, in my opinion, I think it's probably sensationalism done by the newspapers. At that time, there was really no you could pretty much say whatever you wanted, and I mean that still happens in the British tabloids and in the American tabloids as well. But I think if you chalked it up for me, I think that sounds more like just a story that evolved and maybe took factors from different horrific things and combined them. And once it's in the psyche, you have people coming out and maybe they want to be famous at the time, or that's what I think it is personally.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think for me, there's the overlap with Jack the Ripper, because there's just a couple decades that separate these stories from Jack the Ripper. So this idea that, because I'm kind of with you on that these are all sensationalism, but then we have just this couple decade difference where we want to say all of this stuff is just crazy, just people talking about this is, the women of the night and house servants going to work being attacked. And then decades later, we have very similar things, but we have women being killed now, and that's being put in the newspapers. But that's, we look at that, that's all real. Of course, Jack the Ripper was doing his things there. So it's almost this whole, like, I think we sometimes look back at certain things of the past, like people were crazy back then and people made up stuff. People didn't understand how anything worked and blah, blah, blah. But we have these two characters, named Jack in the 1800s, and one we look at as totally real, and the other stories we're like, nah, let's dismiss all of it. I think for me, it's hard.
I guess let me clarify. Like, I don't think I'm dismissing all of it. Like, I'm not even saying that there wasn't some truth to it. Like, but I'm saying that there might be, a fire breather, or the metal claws or something like that. But then it's just sensationalized to the point where it's like he's a demon now. It's not out of the ordinary that someone would have, like, you see those, like those claw brass knuckles. They had those back then. That was actually kind of a weapon that they used in that time for like street fighting and stuff like that. The Spring Hill Jack stuff. Maybe the guy, it's taken out of context and how high he actually jumped. Maybe he did jump. Maybe he was like doing some parkour shit, and it just gets sensationalized, and then he turns into a demon or like something supernatural. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but do we dismiss some of these aspects? Like, was there like a rogue circus performer going around backflipping, scaring the shit out of people, spitting fire at them, clawing off clothes for whatever reason, pretending to be a policeman, slapping soldiers? Like,
I always like to blame carny and circus folk, so I'm in that lot. I think it was probably, if it is a real person, dude was a carny, circus carny clown.
You remember Batman Returns? How the Penguin, how it's a whole gang of circus folks, and when they're attacking Gotham City, it's like it's fire breathers and people backflipping, chasing you down with their backflips.
So that you're making that connection that maybe, it's the London Underground as well, right? So that was the Gotham Underground. Maybe they took some aspects of that. Tim Burton took some aspects of this story and applied it to his film. I mean, that's not a realm of possibilities.
Yeah. It's something that it's an intriguing tale. I think not a lot of people know about. I don't know what it is.
It's interesting. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
What else you got for us today?
All right. So we're going to leave the 19th century London, and we're going to head over to, we're going to fly back even earlier in time over to France, specifically Gevaudan, France. And we're going to go to Gevaudan, France, 1700s. So I covered this briefly when we were speaking to Rod about Bigfoot,
the Bear County Bigfoot.
Yeah. And this is a movie, they made a movie out of this. We've once seen, I remember seeing it in the theaters, which you called The Brotherhood of the Wolf. So in that tale, it's basically it's depicting this real event that happened in the 1700s, where the people, the countryside of France in Gevaudan, France, were reporting that a large wolf was attacking people, and there have been over 100 victims that have been credited to this beast here. There's still some debate over what truly happened there, but it's a real documented thing. The King of France actually sent some soldiers out there. The soldiers at the end of the day, well, I guess we'll talk about that, but let's get into what happened here. So in the Beast of Gevaudan, the first reported attack was in 1764. A young woman was tending cattle near the village of Langoncheny, and I could totally be butchering all of this stuff here. But she claimed to be attacked by a large wolf-like creature, and she was able to escape with her life. But this would become the first in a series of attacks here, where people would be doing laundry, people would be tending to the cattle, and this large wolf would just snatch, well, not just children, but they would snatch whoever because it was so large there. First, it was being, I guess it's not so uncommon for a child to be sort of snatched up by a larger type creature. But this creature was so large that even a full-grown man and woman, it was not uncommon for them to be snatched up all of a sudden because it did not discriminate here. And the thing with that started leading to a lot of credence to these were that these attacks were witnessed by multiple people, that they saw how big this creature was. It was, they can describe how it looked, and that
how big was it? What did it look like?
It was estimated to be up to 9 feet tall. That it was as tall as a calf, so almost like a big.
And that's on all fours, or is that standing up on its hind legs?
Well, that's where the stories get interesting, because it's described as either one. That for the most part, it could be a running creature that just was on all fours, but there are reports that it was on its hind legs, that it stood up, and that it was almost, for the most part, it's described as just a huge wolf. But some tales sort of take on that werewolf like. Okay. Yeah, there was some red coat, like it was described as having this reddish brown, russet colored coat of fur that sort of distinguished it from other wolves in the region there. The other thing that was very interesting, which really scared people, was that it didn't seem that it was killing just for food. It seemed like it was taking pleasure in mutilating its victims. That instead of just, I guess in typical attacks, you'd sort of just see, whatever the good bits are, the guts or something being eaten, and then the body would be left. These bodies were ripped apart. Like you would see arms and legs kind of all over the place, like that creature, took pleasure in mutilating you and creating this fear here, which is really different from other animal attacks that we know throughout history here. It didn't seem to it wasn't just for food, it seemed. It wanted to torture and scare you. So yeah, these attacks, they would target both people and cattle, and it was, there were several attempts to try to stop this creature here. And, hunters came from all over, professionals, soldiers, and they all struggled to bring it down. It was spotted. There were times it would get shot, but it was almost bulletproof itself, where it would take it and keep on going. So almost like supernatural. The King Louis XV of France, after getting letters from the people of Gevaudan to stop this creature, was able to create a substantial reward for the creature's capture, sent an army down there, and finally the Reign of Terror was able to be stopped about 3 years later in 1767, when a hunter named Jean Chastel was able to shoot and kill the creature. The bullet was said to be made with silver. The bullet was supposed to be a silver bullet, which was supposed to be effective against creatures of the night, and that it was said that once it was killed, that they took the creature, because it was a large creature, and they brought the remains back to France, and it was sort of shown about to show everyone that, yeah, this was a legit creature. That stuff is hard to find, as far as like where are the pictures or the paintings depicting that. There's no remains that we can see in a museum, but this was said to have been a huge deal, and that the reports are that there was almost either 100, close to 100, or even over that were killed by this creature here.
That's wild. So, I mean, is there a conspiracy wrapped up in there? Like, did they actually kill the thing? Because they allude to that in the film, that they didn't really actually kill the animal. They found it, but they didn't. It was like this whole secret society, and it was like ritualistic killings and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. So let's dive into that. So in the film, it was a secret society. They did have a large wolf. This wolf was like outfitted with armor and
like almost mechanical, like almost like a hybrid.
Right.
Yeah, steampunk wolf. There's a lot of steampunk shit going on back then.
It's a steampunk wolf, yeah. So it was bulletproof. So that was the reason why this wolf, and I think they were like torturing it, making it all ferocious and things like that. But it had armor on it so that when they were trying to shoot it, they really couldn't because this thing was bulletproof. There were some thoughts that maybe there was something like that happening. So yes, so the idea that there's some steampunk aspects, that this was some sort of wolf that was trained by a group of people or perhaps outfitted with armor to make it bulletproof is an idea out there.
What are some of the other ones? What are some of the other ideas?
Yeah, so some are normal and it gets weird. Some ideas are that it was a wolf hybrid, and we've sort of mentioned some hybrids. I was mentioning on one of our last episodes that there was a sighting of a coy wolf that was thought to be a coyote wolf, or even a coyote that mixed with a dog, and had properties of both. It's not so different with this one. This was thought that it was a large or aggressive wolf dog. There are some other thoughts that it was a hybrid of a lion with a wolf, and that's why it was so big and ferocious.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's something we need to explore, because I see things where it seems like...
Yeah, I see things too, and they seem fake. Unless you're like on Dr. Zhivago's like island or something like that. Or
I don't know. I feel like school didn't do a good job. Like there's different breeds of dogs that can make a little puppy.
Yeah, but there's also like there's feline and then canine. There's different
Yeah, but
animal species and genomes. Like you can't, like a human, like if a human goes and bangs a lion, it's not gonna mix. It's not gonna whatever, unless you know what I'm saying. Like it doesn't work. Is it? Well, unless that's how the Thundercats were created.
I don't know. I feel like maybe we need some sort of island where some weird stuff,
weird scientists,
some weird scientists who Dr. Moreau.
Dr. Moreau,
yeah, because I don't know. I saw some stuff about what was it, a coyote or some sort of weird creature, a weasel breaking into a chicken coop, and he just started raping them and making coyote chickens. The bear pig. I don't know. It's like I want to. That doesn't happen.
You want to live in a world where a lion and a wolf can have a baby.
I don't even know anymore, but I just want to know if that's possible, and if
it's not. I'm telling you, it's not possible.
Perhaps, I don't know.
No, not perhaps.
You're not a scientist, and neither am I. So
yeah, but that's like basic like 5th grade science, where like, are you saying that the educational system has taught us that?
Yes,
I would just think there would be a lot more.
Taught us nothing.
Okay,
yes.
All right. Let's break it down. You got household cats and dogs, right?
Uh-huh.
Why aren't we seeing those? Wouldn't that happen more commonly? Wouldn't there be like a cat and dog that get it on, and then they have like a cat dog? Was Nickelodeon trying to reveal a truth to us? Like, oh yeah, you can have a cat dog. Do you remember that cartoon?
Well, I guess where are the lines then? So we can't have cat dogs, but we can.
Where are the lines in France? Where are the lines in France first? I
don't know. I don't know. I didn't kill 100.
This is enraging me more than Flat Earth enrages me.
So where are the lines at? We can have a coy wolf in Illinois. We can have a coyote dog in Illinois. But where are the
lines in France? We want to know.
Yeah.
Where are the lions in Africa?
Lion, wolf, Beast of Gevaudan.
You're looking it up? Well, let's hear. I will be quiet.
Oh no, I mean, this is good stuff. This goes off the hybrid stuff that we sort of alluded to on the last episode with the bear pig that was briefly brought up at the end, which I think
bear pig,
monkey bear pig. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I guess I don't know where the lines are drawn as far as hybrids go. Like what these animals can have babies together, but these animals can't. We can't have dog cats, but we can have dog wolves, dog coyotes, cat pigs. I don't know. I don't know.
My brain's melting right now, dude. This is.
But yes, but one of the theories is that it was a lion, even if not a lion wolf, it was a lion. So,
well, maybe I can get behind lion, maybe like maybe a lion got out,
but just not a lion wolf.
No, because it's not physically possible.
Chicka wah wah.
I mean,
I don't know. The heart wants what the heart wants, man. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a love unmaker.
Nature finds a way. Are you gonna quote Jurassic Park to me? Is that what's gonna happen?
I don't know. I'm just this hybrid stuff is new to me. I mean, I thought we lived in a world where everyone stays in their own lane. Penises and vaginas of your own species, but
holy
I don't know.
Shit.
I don't know.
Cats and dogs cannot mate because they do not share enough similar DNA to do so. They are both different species of animals that will rarely even attempt to mate with one another. Same goes with lions and wolves because they're in a different species. They're canine versus feline.
What about coyotes and wolves?
That could work because they're both canine. So they share a similar DNA structure. So even though it's rare and it's usually not done between species, they're in the same species family. So that's possible. Okay. It's like if you mate a tiger and a lion, you can do that. It's hard because they live in different parts of the world and they're just like, what the fuck is that cat?
Oh, it's the ligers.
The ligers, yeah. This is like 5th grade stuff. I'm disappointed with you and Ed with this. I love you both.
I'm reading stuff. I'm saying that's what they're saying, and I'm just saying
you're just telling them what they're saying.
I'm just saying what they're saying. Okay. I don't know. I don't know where the lines are drawn as far as animals.
I'm telling you where the lines are drawn.
Okay, so maybe we need a chart, right? We need a 5th grade refresher. If you mix blue with green, you get purple. I don't know. Blue. You get if you mix cats and dogs, you get nothing. But if you mix dogs with lions, you get a dying. I don't know. Maybe we need to
blue and green. Yeah, blue and green. You'd have like a blue green, yellow and blue. You'd get green. I got to tell you your colors too, Rolando. You get it.
Yes, I don't mix Crayola. I don't mix colors. I do it digitally. I mix it on Photoshop or things like that. So I haven't mixed old school Crayolas in quite a while. So yes, I need a refresher.
Well, okay. Just look at your digital color palette next time and see which colors are next to each other. And that's basically how it works, man. There's a tiger at one corner of the color spectrum, and then there's a fucking canine on the other side of the color spectrum. I love you guys, but oh my God.
Well, I guess I need you to define these are all the animals that can love each other, and these are all the animals that can't. Because apparently,
I'll get on it.
You're the boss of that, and you're going to tell.
I'm not the boss of anything. You said you're reading stuff.
You're saying cats and dogs can love each other.
Cats and dogs can have a spiritual connection, and they can cuddle together, but there's no way that they can mate to have offspring. That's all I'm saying.
All right, let's get back to the Beast of Gevaudan.
I'm not saying. Listen. I'm not saying a dog can't fuck a cat, bro. I'm just saying there's no baby that's going to come out of that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a chihuahua that fucked a fucking tabby at one point.
Perhaps. And I'm not saying that they could. I'm just saying that maybe with wolves and lions and coyotes. I don't know. We haven't even gotten to the weirder stuff. We're still.
Oh my God. Let me all right, we're done with the pissing competition, but it's
Right,
Dr. Gilbert's gonna be so disappointed when she hears this episode.
Yes, I guess.
She's like, I thought I taught you that in the 7th grade.
Yes. We still don't know what the Beast of Gevaudan is. So maybe we need 2 of every animal, Noah's Ark style, but then instead of staying in your own room, we're gonna do like a Hollywood key room where it's like, hey lion, you can keys with the
and then there's with a wolf, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, goat, you're going to go home with
the badger.
Badger. Yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Piggy, you're going to go home with the frog, I guess. We just keep that frog. Like normal. Yeah. Just keep it normal.
Keep it normal.
See what happens there.
Sounds good. All right. Well, let's hear the weird stuff now that we've.
I guess we've established that is the weird stuff. So at this point, let's just do the less weird stuff.
Okay.
That it's an unknown animal, some undiscovered cryptid that we don't know about. That is perhaps
I believe. I'll say this: I believe that way more than a fucking wolf, fucking a lion.
Okay, But the supernatural creature, right? The like we've mentioned the dog man on this episode, perhaps some sort of American werewolf in France, or not even American at that point, but just a werewolf in France. In Gevaudan, France.
Gevaudan.
Yeah, it's fun to say.
It is fun.
Yeah. The other thing, mass hysteria, right? It's just people being killed and mutilated by serial killers or a group of serial killers, and it being attributed to a beast, right? It could be just wandering psychopaths.
Dressed in wolf clothing, even.
Yes, which has become more of a popular thing. There was a movie released not so long ago. I can't think of the name of it, but it was basically that same idea that this person doing these attacks, and they were doing it in a werewolf costume.
Nice.
Makes total sense.
It makes more sense than a lion fucking a wolf.
Which isn't my theory, but yeah.
Well, I pinned it on you. I'm sorry. You're the scapegoat for
scapegoat. Yeah, we're gonna fuck a goat with some other half.
It was a badger or something.
Yeah, a boat. What a boat. Let's see. Or the band of outlaws that, yes, the serial killers may have, just like the Brotherhood of the Wolf movie, maybe just outfitted some sort of wolf with springs in its heels and armor around its body, and said go kill for me and things like that. But it is one of those weird tales, and especially because of the high body count attributed to it, with over 100 killed in France, and it was quite terrifying. There's depictions of it in paintings and things. You'll see a giant wolf snatching kid from the field, and yeah. So whatever it was, whether it was a hybrid or a armor-plated wolf lion.
Yeah, it's a wild story regardless.
It's a wild story. Yes. The closing thoughts on the Beast of Gevaudan, or just the ability the last time to pronounce
Gevaudan. I think the one that I probably equated to is probably the band of like outlaws, like going around and killing people and dressing up and like the Brotherhood of the Wolf. Like
even with all the witnesses saying that they saw this big ass lion. I mean, wolf.
Maybe there was a wolf as well. Like I really kind of, but maybe it was. I think the story in the film Brotherhood of the Wolf is probably the most, and I'm just is the most likely of it. Where they trained something and then they kind of had their way with the victims as well. So that's just kind of where my mind is at, which is the most logical.
There was a lot of martial arts in that movie.
There was a lot of martial arts in that movie for like no reason at all. Like it was just like, oh, this is my
Asian manservant.
Yeah, this is my Asian chauffeur.
Mark, yeah, was it Mark Dacascos?
Dukakis?
Yes. Yes, but that's a cool. I mean, that's not to say don't watch it because of the martial arts. I'm just saying.
No, that movie was a shit. I love that movie.
Yes. Just looking at some other articles here. So yes, lion is one of the theories on here. They mentioned the lions of Tsavo, which was depicted in another famous movie called The Ghost in the Darkness with Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas, and they were two lions that went apeshit in Africa and killed like 100 people as well. 130 victims. So this is Beast of Gevaudan numbers here.
So they're saying, all right, so it's saying that it's a lion now. See, I can get behind that.
I want to say I came across, just like the lion, came across some information that there was some hybrid, jungle fever. I mean, that's where it comes from, right? Jungle fever. I mean, it's like lion, like, hey, zebra, I want to eat you, but not in the way you think. No.
Oh man. All right. Well, what's the next one? What are we hopping on next?
Do we want to get into it?
All right. Do you just want to close it down for this one, and then we can just do a Pied Piper episode later?
Yeah.
Let's just do that because it's 12. Yeah, it's getting on 12:30. So you go ahead and close it up. Or do you want me to start closing it and I'll toss to you and you can have the
final word? Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here with Spring Hill Jack and the Wolf of Gevaudan. I enjoy the folklore. I enjoy the tales. Part of me, the cynic in me, always thinks, is this just something that was romanticized and just basically exaggerated to maybe keep the people scared or to drum up newspaper sales for the Spring Hill Jack one. With the Gevaudan one, was there something in the woods that they didn't want people to do there, to go out there because it was dangerous? And is that just a tale that they told to keep people at bay? But going, and of course, like there's people that like go into like getting the king to come down and stuff like that and send armies. I mean, there's some truth to it, but like the mysteries of it all is what makes a great urban legend, in my opinion.
Yeah, here. I do. I think it's so interesting that these stories, even hundreds of years later, they still captivate us. I like reading about them, and I like telling these tales because oftentimes people don't know about this, and I take pleasure in, I guess, providing information to people, just trying to not corrupt them, but spread information to them and corrupt their brains. Yeah. And at least try to expose them to different thoughts that, that the world may be a bit more mysterious than what we've been led to believe. And that there may be some magic in the air in our world, or some magic between interspecies, who knows?
So yeah, if I take anything away from this episode, if it comes out that wolves and lions can actually have offspring, I will be the first to apologize to you publicly, Rolando, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
It's not my theory. Oh, but I think it's cute. You
want to live in a world where wolves and lions are getting it on, like almost like the Lion King. Can you feel the love tonight? Or how does that go? How's that sound? Come on, let's all right. Let's hold on. Let's channel. What's his name?
Elton John.
Elton John. Let's go.
Is enough to make kings and vagabonds every night that's burned.
And that's exactly how he sings it. I think we should get so. You're welcome for that, everybody. We channeled Elton John for you, and I don't know what are we doing next week. Do you have any more tales from Europe that we want to talk about?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some. I want to do a Euro trip part 2. I don't know if we'll go visit this well next week, but I think we definitely should come back. I mean, one thing I did want to hint on in our second Euro trip is the legend of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and it's the famous little myth that may very well be true.
I love it. That's actually one of my favorite, myths or folk tales from when I was a kid. So I love to hear the true spin on it when we do this next time.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to follow us over on Instagram, you can do so. We're growing over there. Make sure that you hit the follow button on where you listen to your podcasts. We are very excited that we got some ad campaigns because of you following. So just continue to do that. And if you're already following, we apologize for asking you a million times, but just make sure you share with your friends that are weird, because the people that have a healthy distrust are the people that we want with us. We want you weirdos. We're going to call it you're our weirdos. We're your weirdos. You can be our weirdos. Rolando, any last words, my friend?
Nope. Keep tuning in, stay weird, and we'll catch you on the flip side.